Hello, and welcome to the Labyrinth of Limitations. For this little labyrinth, we're going to look at the chromatic scale concept that Barry teaches, which I've looked at before, but we're going to go into detail and simplicity also, talking about how to practice it. You might have noticed I use this all the time. So I think the ending of Stella by Starlight, which I just recorded the other day and shared with you guys, it kind of goes, the ending, and I did something like, I didn't. So I do, and the sound of this, that is Barry's chromatic scale concept. So we're going to talk about how to do that. The idea is this: if I took just a C dominant 7th scale and I wanted to do the chromatic scale concept, I just play a note in between every note, and where there is no space in between the notes, I jump up to the next scale degree, right? You guys have probably, a lot of you have seen this before. And then, right, and then, so I go, you know, you could do these cool things, you know, so that is just doing, you know, that's the sound of it in monophonic lines. But then what if we had, let's make it C major 6, and then, so that is C major 6 diminished, which is a C major scale with this sharp 5, which makes it, of course, into that duality of the on and off chord, of course. So I'm going to use that for polyphony, for you know, chord melodies or whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to do these chromatic bits. So how would I do it? It's just the same idea. You just you got to go. Now here's where we had that's the 5, sharp 5, and 6 that are in the scale. Actually, they are diatonic to the scale, you could say. So I have to go. So what I did there was I went G, and then I'm going to go jump up to the next scale degree because I have to go a half step up to the sharp 5. Then I'm going to go jump up to the next scale degree and go to the 6. You know, so that's the idea. And that's the idea. That's how we do it. So that will allow us to do motions. You know, if I were to do freely, you know, so that's kind of putting it in. You can do it, you know, with contrary. And I'm mixing which voices I do with it, so it can get complicated sounding really fast. But the idea is simple, and we can practice it in a simple way. So that's what I'm going to share with you now. What would we do? Let's look at the floors of the elevator. Let's start with thirds. Okay, we could do single notes, but that's just unison, right? So let's start with thirds. So I'm going to go. So I'm going to go up thirds from octave to octave. And I'm going to do the top voice for starters, maybe. So that is just doing. That was the sound we heard when. And then I could do it in the bottom voice also. So, and then if I don't get stuck. Which is pretty. So just there, let's stay with that floor for just a second. Let's just put it into something. Let's Let's take Autumn Leaves, because in Autumn Leaves, if you play it in the key of G major and E minor, you know, so E minor, I guess, is where it ends. It starts with A minor 7 to D7 to G. And that A minor 7, of course, is C major 6, right? So you go E minor 6 for starters, right? So now, so that's and then it goes to D7. So I could go D7 diminished scale, and then G major 6, which is what it goes to. So I'll do that again. So and then it does. Notice what I did there, right there. I did a third. This is G major 6. But the third was found within a drop 2, because there's a third in the middle of drop 2s. So you could do all kinds of stuff with that type of thing. You know, you could go, I'm just taking this is C major 6. I'm just imagining the middle of a drop 2 down here maybe. Or, you know, I'm imagining, you know, something. I'm just seeing the notes. So I'm putting a third like that. So, and then that's D7, and then I don't know if that, I guess it should have been that. And then, see, I did a drop 2. And then I do that's G major 6, and I do a third here, which is in the middle of drop 2, which is a really pretty way to get some inner voice motion just with thirds. So that utility of thirds, it goes from there. What does it do? It goes A minor 6, which is F sharp half diminished 7th, or if you want to call it F sharp minor 7 flat 5, that's fine. So I'll keep with the idea. So, and that, see what I'm seeing there's just the thirds. Whoops. And I can put a little A, this is A minor 6. And then maybe I'll do an octave chord. C minor 6, which is the tritones minor for B7, and I'll see this third on top, which is really pretty. I'll just play that, then we'll get on with the exercises. So this is all just with thirds. This is just what you could do with thirds if you practice your thirds. So, oh, that was contrary motion. I shouldn't have done that. So let me go. And then or that's E minor 6. So right there, you could practice your thirds, just going, and then find those thirds in the middle. So this third right here. So I go, and then this one is in the middle of this. This one is in the middle of this. So all of these thirds exist in the middle of drop 2. So you could do that out of a drop 2 to kind of learn about drop 2. So you're not just practicing thirds. You're also practicing drop 2s, which is a whole nother floor. Okay, so then let's look at the next floor up. Let's look at triads. So, well, we don't have to do that yet. We can just go. These are pretty. the end. That's where that should end. Or actually, I went too far. I went a bit too far. I should have stopped here. But that's the way it works. Going backwards. So then you. That's going backwards. Now you could do any of those voices. So instead of doing this, I could go, whoops. And so on. That's really pretty. You could do the bottom voice. Pretty stuff. That's shells. I mean, that's triads. Now we'll do shells. So you got high shell and low shell, right? So this one and this one. This one would go to this one. So you go top voice. So that's that one going from there to there. And then you could do low voice shell, top voice though. You know, you could do that, but we could do, let's do low voice shell, middle voice. You know, you gotta bring out the middle voice. I'm not seeing it. There we go. Yeah, so that was. And then backwards. Backwards, maybe I'll do. So I'll do high shelf going downward just for kicks. Whoops. And then I'll go down, I'll go like that instead. I'll jump down to a scale to re when there's a half step space, like as in between F and E. So I'll go, and then, which is pretty. I don't do these, I should do these. I'm doing that wrong. Yeah. You know, it's pretty stuff. All of this could be useful, you know, you could go, so you could go like, you know, that would be there on that progression. It's pretty to do, you know, in all kinds of situations. And you don't have to start on chord or off chord, you can kind of work it out. That would be shell chords, and then octave chords. All of these are beautiful, and you can pick each voice. So you could do bottom voice on shell chords, of course, too. So that would be, and so on and so forth, right? You could go to octave chords, though. So, and there are 3 versions of octave chords. There's this one, and then I'll do this one. So like. mix them up a lot on accident. Because I practiced that a lot because I like the sound of that more, but I should discipline myself to staying on one version of the octave chord instead of switching. I do the same thing with shell chords, just a thing I do. Of course, you could do any voice of that, and that would be cool. Drop twos, which we've already kind of practiced because we did thirds. And we did shell chords, and drop twos have shell chord here, here, and a third here, there's a fifth here, there's a fifth here, there's a sixth, there's all these things. So with drop twos, then I'll do the middle voice, the alto voice. So, or drop 2 and 4. All of those. I mean, I just kind of skipped ahead there, didn't I? But drop 2 is where we were. Which is really nice. You could do that in any voice. You could do drop 3s. So drop 3s. So I'll do this middle. Let me try it again. That's hard. Right, and then up and up. So that's that. Drop 3s, and then drop 2 and 4s, like I was saying before. Doing the second to top voice. Asks why I picked that voice just randomly, because I'm kind of seeing this video is taking longer than might be a good idea, because don't want to keep it under a certain time frame. It can go on, can't it? This is all stuff we could practice though. So you could go so this drop. So this is that drop 2 and 4. I'll do the top voice. That one more because it seems easier. So this is just a really fun way to practice, and I do these all the time. So I did that example. We've looked at Autumn Leaves a little bit. A thing I do over and over again at some point when I play All the Things You Are, as I love to do. So it goes in the second half. And that is just C minor 6 with contrary motion, and then to the tritones minor for D7, E flat minor 6. And I'm doing a chromatic. I've done that one a ton. I don't mind doing it a ton because I think it's so pretty. It's like, why, I'd be ashamed to never do it again. I like it a lot. I think it's fun. It's just sitting there. It's just this stuff. So this is taking something that Barry shared with us. And I think it's a good example of how we should look. We should look at the chromatic scale concept that Barry shared with us much more, because I think it's really useful. You can put it all over the place. You can play it in every measure of a song, even if it sounds a little etude-like, a little study-like, but it'd still be kind of cool, So, and you can apply it to any scale. It's just the idea of a rhythmic thing of filling in the space between the normal notes. You got these on and off chords in these scales, and that goes for the 4 scales of chords: the major 6, the minor 6, the dominant 7th, the dominant 7th flat 5, all with the diminished chords in there. You could do it with the whole tone scale. You could do it with the octatonic scale. So it's really a versatile thing to do, in addition to doing it with your just normal monophonic dominant scale, your major scale, your harmonic minor scale. You could do it all over the place. So there's so much to explore putting that into tunes. So I hope this has been inspiring, and that people are inspired to look at the Barry's chromatic scale concept a bit more and put it in their practice. Thanks very much, and keep practicing.